Hello, we're going to be facilitating a psychoeducation group model for our video project. Psychoeducation is a crucial part of the substance abuse treatment process because it specifically targets clients in the earlier stages of change and helps them understand the effects that their substance use may have on their lives. Early recovery intervention groups can help clients think about getting help and how to access resources needed for change when they are ready. These groups are also really beneficial for family members of a client. This is a space where they can grasp an understanding of the behavior of a loved one with substance use disorder, which in turn helps them better support the client during their recovery journey. The setting of our group is going to be an open group, with the placement is a horseshoe style setup with chairs and a marker board with handouts that will explain the stages of change that you'll see during our presentation. I'm Cassandra. I will be acting as the leader in this group therapy role play.
Hi, I'm Gail, and I will be acting as a recovering addict in the maintenance stage of recovery.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I will be acting as a recovering addict in determination stage.
Hi, my name is LaTristan, and I'll be acting as a recovering addict in the contemplation stage.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I will be acting as the pre-contemplation stage of my recovery.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Before we begin, I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about group therapy that we're going to be having today. My name is Cassandra, and I have been working in substance use treatment for almost 5 years now. Today's group is a psychoeducational session where we will be discussing different topics related to substance use and recovery. I would like to start with clarifying maybe the goals of today's session. Does anyone have a topic to suggest for today's group?
Yes, I would like to make a suggestion for stages of change. I think it would be helpful for us group members to learn the different stages in recovery, or the different stages of change, and then maybe even perhaps identify which stages we believe we might be in.
I'm not familiar with the stages of change. What are they?
Yes, what are the stages of change? How will it help?
Gail, I think that's a great idea. LaTristan and Tina, I have a great visual to pass around that would help us with that discussion. Any other topics that participants would like to suggest before we get started on that?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much, Cassandra.
Awesome. I like handouts and visuals. I'm such a visual person. I've been really wanting to get a better understanding of the stages of change. I like to believe that I'm in the maintenance stage, but then other times I don't think so, because I still experience urges and I still have drug dreams sometimes. Do you know what stage that is, or even if that is a stage? I mean, I need help understanding it all.
Hi, everyone. I don't have any other questions, but I would just like to understand where I'm at. I haven't gotten sober yet, but I think I'm ready to. I feel like I was contemplating whether or not I have a problem for a long time. But once my drug use ended my relationship, I'm realizing that I need to change. I know I have a problem, I just don't know how to fix it. Am I in the determination stage?
It does sound like you're in that determination stage, Julia. Let's discuss this a little further.
Cassandra, do you mind if we go over the stages of change one by one?
I don't mind at all. Let me share this handout with you all. I'm going to pass it around, take a minute to look at it. Okay, so does everyone have their sheet in front of them still? These are the 6 stages of change. How about you all read over this? Tell me where you think you are in your recovery. But first, why don't we take turns reading the different stages? Gail, let's start with you. Would you be willing to read that first stage out loud for me?
Yes. So the first stage says pre-contemplation. And the definition of pre-contemplation is not yet considering change, or is unwilling or unable to change. Okay, I get it. And then the primary task is raising awareness.
That's great. Julia, why don't you read the second stage?
So the second stage is contemplation. The definition is sees the possibility of change, but is ambivalent and uncertain. The primary task is resolving ambivalence and helping to choose change.
Excellent. Tina, what stage follows the contemplation stage?
What I show is the determination stage, which the definition is committed to changing, still considering what to do. The primary task, help identify appropriate change strategies.
Thank you. LaTristan, what comes next?
Number 4 is action. So the definition is taking steps towards change, but hasn't stabilized in the process. And then the primary task is help implement change strategies and learn to eliminate potential relapses.
Awesome. The stage that follows that would be the maintenance stage. The definition of that, it has achieved the goals and is working to maintain change. And the primary task is develop a new skill for maintaining recovery. Does anyone want to read the last stage for me?
Or, so the last stage is recurrence. I actually haven't heard of this stage, so this is interesting. The definition of recurrence is experience a recurrence of the symptoms. I wonder if that's like relapse. I don't know. And the primary task is cope with consequences and determine what to do next. So that's totally new to me.
It is for relapse, catching relapses and how to deal with what that might do for you.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing this with us. I definitely feel I'm in the determination stage. I am recognizing I have a problem and feeling like I have no option but to change, but I still need to figure out a plan. I'm not quite ready to take action.
For the handout that I'm looking at, I'm in the pre-contemplation stage of my recovery. I got a DUI the other night and spent the night in jail. I've been in treatment before, which I felt I never needed. I don't feel that I have a serious problem, but everyone else thinks so. Like I have said, I've been in treatment and didn't care for it. I'm here today to basically please my family. I want more than anything to have a relationship with them. What I'm not understanding is why it's so hard for me to why is it so bad for me to have a couple beers with my friends and coworkers? Am I not entitled to wind down at the end of the day like everyone else? Yes, I know I got a DUI. It wasn't my fault. I don't think I'm that bad, and I don't think I have a huge problem like everyone thinks. I messed up. People mess up all the time.
I hear you, Tina. I was in a very similar situation as you. My family and my partner wanted me to get sober, and I did not see why. And I know that can be frustrating. I was in that stage for many, many years.
Thank you, Julia. It's good to know that I'm not alone.
So if I'm reading this right, according to your diagram, I am in the contemplation stage. So I see how drugs have negative effects on my life, but I don't really see the point of forcing myself to change. It would be nice to stop. I would probably be healthier that way, but I don't really think I'm ready. So that's something I worry about in the future.
You know what, LaTristan, I really appreciate your honesty. Because I wasn't really ready to stop, and I didn't even see a problem in my using before I got clean. It wasn't until I got clean and sober that I could see the difference in my life and how it was actually better to be clean. I'll be honest, as for me, to me, my use wasn't so bad. I mean, it was my money. I wasn't bothering anybody. I was doing my own thing. So I didn't see why it was such a problem. But I will admit, though, in many ways, after I got clean, that my life is so much better without the using. All I can say is I do encourage you to stick and stay and don't leave right before the miracle happens, because, you know, being clean, it works if you work it.
I understand where you're at as well, Tristan. Not too long ago, I was in a headspace where I knew drugs were bad for me, but I wasn't ready to do anything about it. It took me suffering some serious consequences in order to realize that I have to make change. I think it's okay to recognize a problem and not be ready to do anything about it.
You're absolutely right, Julia. Recognizing the consequences of your substance use is a great step in the right direction, even if you're not quite ready to make changes.
Thank you, everybody. Hearing your experiences definitely make me feel better about all of this.
I agree, LaTristan. It's nice to know we're not alone and there are people who are struggling just like us.
So, can we go backwards through the stages of change?
Oh yes, absolutely you can. These stages are not linear. We flow through in different orders, and there can be times when you go through a stage more than once. It really all depends on the person and their unique individual circumstances.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I've had times where I realized I had a problem, but then later on, I was in denial about it. I just didn't want to make any changes. It felt easier to just ignore my needs.
Yeah, I was doing that for a long time too. I guess you can say I kind of went back and forth between pre-contemplation and contemplation for a while. I would go from being unwilling to make change to considering how change would make my life so much better. So
Thank you for sharing, LaTristan. I guess I'm still in the pre-contemplation stage as I am unwilling to change and feel that I don't have a problem.
Yep. And after learning more, I can see that I'm not always in the maintenance stages of change, and that I go back and forth between stages. So, sometimes after looking at this paper, I feel that I'm in the action stage too sometimes. But anyway, the good thing is, though, that I haven't used no matter what stage I'm in.
That's great to hear you haven't used, Gail. I hope I can one day be where you're at.
Tina, I think that's a great goal. Why don't we share some other personal goals we have for ourselves? In what other ways is your substance use impacting your life that you would like to see change?
I would like to change my attitude towards all of this. I feel that I don't have a problem, but clearly I do. I would like to have a relationship with my family again, more than anything.
yeah, same. I would definitely like to have a more positive attitude.
A positive attitude can make all the difference, LaTristan. Tina, I would love to see you achieve that goal. Family relationships can be so beneficial in the recovery process.
I would like to achieve it too. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for your support.
My next goal is to get sober. I'm ready to do it. I just need to make sure I have the right plans set in place for success. I'm working on using better coping mechanisms so I don't resort to using drugs again.
Julia, this is a great place to sort some of that out. We can discuss what we lean on when wanting to support our efforts to change. What are some things that you utilize when you need support?
I would also like to hear what others use to help them. Maybe I can tap into some of them for my goals.
For me, it's important that I limit my exposure to triggers regarding my substance use. I don't visit places I used to go in, and I don't associate it with the people I used to use with anymore. So
My family has been a really great support system for me while I make plans for my sobriety. They let me think out loud and they offer me advice. While I was contemplating whether or not I had a problem, they let me bounce ideas off of them until I realized that using drugs was not worth the consequences anymore. So having family support has been the biggest influence in my recovery process so far.
Yeah, same with me, Julia. My family has been really supportive of me too. I'm really grateful to have people in my life who actually let me speak openly about my struggles without actually making me feel guilty.
Family is always a really good support to have in place if you're able to, but I know that not everyone is. Not everyone can lean on their family when they're going through tough times, or especially times like this. But this is where other meaningful relationships can play a huge part in someone's journey of recovery. Has everyone heard of AA or NA meetings, or having a sponsor when the time is right for you?
Yes, I have heard of AA and NA meetings. I've never gone to any. Maybe as I continue my stages, I'll be more willing to try these meetings out or possibly have a sponsor. Thank you for letting me know about them.
Of course. And just so everyone knows, there's always an updated current list of meetings that are in our area right down the hall on the bulletin board next to the door. I mean, I'm always happy to make copies for anybody that's interested or give you a little more information. But unfortunately, I think we have reached the end of our goal, so we may have to discuss that, or the end of our group, excuse me. So we may have to discuss that a little more next session. Because it's the end of our session, I always like to end group with a mood and emotions check. So if everyone would be willing, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being your best, how is everyone feeling right now?
I feel I'm around an 8. I'm nervous to get sober, but I feel like I'm excited to make this change.
I feel that I'm at a 7. This group meeting was very helpful, and hopefully my mood will be higher next time. Thank you.
So I think I'm about at an 8. I feel pretty good and feel like I'm stabilizing, getting used to being clean.
I feel that I'm around a 7 as well. This group has provided me with just a lot of insight about my addiction just from today. And I'm definitely looking forward to my progression.
Oh, I am so glad that everyone else seems to be in really good spirits as we conclude today's group. I myself would like to check in. I would say that I'm at an 8. I always enjoy facilitating these types of groups and seeing everybody progress. And I think that we've made a lot of good progress, at least in getting educated and more aware of all the resources that are available to us. So if you are interested, we meet here every week in the same time in the same room, and you're all welcome to come. Once a month, we do a family event where you can bring family members and help them understand a little bit more about your substance use disorders or, you know, your addiction issues. And we make that a really good informative meeting for family members. So please don't hesitate to take us up on that if you'd like. Again, there's a schedule of our meetings on the back of the room, and I will hang out for a little bit if anybody wants to have a little bit of one-on-one question time. But otherwise, I really look forward to seeing you in the future, and I hope that you all consider coming back next week.
Thank you so much, Cassandra.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. That
Thank
was
you.
wonderful.
No worries. Thank you.
This was
Thank
nice.
you.
All right. So that's right at 14 minutes.